copy of the newsletter.
Shall we?
Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you very much, gentlemen. All the dignitaries on the dais are now receiving a copy.
Show this. We all have to show this. Yes. That's the customary, like this. Thank you. Thank you. Now what happens?
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, madam. We now request the patron donors of TAG VHS Diabetic Research Center to come up to the dais and receive a copy of the newsletter. May I first call on Shri R.T. Chari, please? Can we have a round of applause for Shri R.T. Chari? Thank you. Thank you, sir. I'd like to mention here Shri S.S.R. Rajkumar, who is out of station, and Shri D. Parthasarathi, representing the Durai Rajan family. I invite Shri D. Parthasarathi, please. Please give him a warm round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I now call on Justice K. Sampath, former Judge, Madras High Court, to please come on stage and receive his copy. Sampath can come on behalf of Mr. Sampath. Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you, madam. And now I'd like to call on Shri D.R. Karthikeyan, former director of CBI, to please come on stage and receive his copy. Can we have a round of applause, please?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. May I request Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy, Chief Election Commissioner, to please come on stage and receive a copy. Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen. May I now request His Excellency, Dr. Stefan Weckbach, Consul General of the Federal Republic of Germany in Chennai, to address this August gathering.
Thank you very much. Dear and most respected Professor Hans-Peter Dürr, Dr. Krishnaswamy, Professor Hegde, Dr. Krishnamurthy, colleagues and friends on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to be present here and to have been invited as a chief guest to this grand event celebrating the successes of the TAG VHS Diabetes Research Center and being present to the first TAG VHS Diabetes Research Center Oration tonight. We have heard a very impressive presentation of the successes of the center given by Dr. Krishnaswamy, and I can only pay my personal tribute and the tribute of my government to these successes and the wonderful performance they have done in so small time, combined with the best wishes to not only to continue but to have even more successes in the future. This is the first oration within this frame, and you have invited Professor Hans-Peter Dürr from Germany to be the orator, and he also has been invited to be the co-editor of the newsletter. You have made a very good choice in my view. So, Professor Dürr, it has already been mentioned, and I think it will even be detailed further in the next minutes, is one of the grand personalities of Germany in the present. He has not only been awarded as a member of the Pugwash movement with the Nobel Prize for Peace, he also is an awardee of the alternate Nobel Prize, the Lifetime Award. He has initiated a great number of movements, of institutions, like the Responsibility for Peace Movement, the World Peace Initiative, the Global Challenges Network, and he is a member of the Club of Rome. He is a well-known activist in the very, very best sense in environmental activities and the environmental movement in Germany. One of his recent initiatives has been the Potsdam Manifesto, Potsdam Denkschrift, and the follow-up to these. Not to speak about the World Future Council, where he is also very active. He will give us an oration with the title "Nuclear Power and Energy Hunger." So one might ask, where is the link to diabetes research and therapy? There is nuclear medicine to have a certain link, but the link is, I think, is given by these themes are among the most important global challenges we have to face today. As I am representing the government of Germany here, please let me tell you that our government, in special the Federal Ministry of Research and Education and Research, just some years ago, only recently, has developed together with the science community, together with economic stakeholders, a so-called high-tech strategy for research in Germany till the year 2020. This always a research in cooperation with our international partners, of which India is one of the first and utmost. In this strategy, there have been identified 5 areas of global challenges. And the first 2 of them are climate change and energy. And here we have the theme Professor Hans-Peter Dürr will touch tonight. And the second one is health and nutrition. And here we have the title, the frame, the umbrella, also of diabetes research and therapy. The 3 others are security, mobility, and communication and information technology. So this is where we are. In the international statistics, India is number 1 worldwide with actual cases of diabetes patients. It is statistically given that there are 30 million in India. It is second to China with 39 million. In Germany, we have 6 million people suffering from diabetes. This is, in proportion to the population, it is even more than in India. But we all know that the figures of official cases, of known cases, do not give the real picture, because there are many cases which have not yet been discovered. The policy of the federal government in Germany facing these diabetes challenge we have is to give the utmost assistance to the patients, especially with programs of early discovery and also programs of education. So to encourage the patients to follow nutrition rules and to follow some kinds of self-therapy, to be strict in these instances. Germany has in Europe the oldest universal health care system and health insurance system, which was till the end of the 19th century, especially established for poor people and for public servants. So the difference was not very big between these two parts of society at that time. And today, our health insurance system is very well developed, but it's also very costly. So there have been quite a number of reforms in the last years to keep pace with the on the one hand, with the development, scientific development and development of health medical technology, and on the other hand, with the rising costs. This has been centralized in a so-called health fund, which is financed by contributions from employees, but also by subsidies from the government. Health industry in Germany employs more than 5 million people, and this is the largest employment sector in Germany. In hospitals, medical practices, institutions, and also, of course, in the administration. So nearly 90% of Germans are members of a statutory health insurance scheme, and the other 10% are members of private health insurance schemes, by which it is covered medical treatment, medication, hospitalization, rehabilitation, and also preventive health care. We are quite happy and proud with this, but as I said, it is necessary to be reformed step by step, because we have to face the reality that, as I said, more than 4 million jobs in this area, but also more than 10% of our GDP goes into the health sector. This is only to give you a small impression about the situation in Germany, because I am authorized and invited by my government to give you facts about Germany. But please let me finally once again pay my deep respect to the work which is done here in India in the health sector under very, very difficult conditions, and especially by the Taj VHS Diabetes Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your wonderful address. We now request Dr. Shobana Anujan, our research officer, to honor Professor B.M. Hegde, former Vice Chancellor, Manipal University, and Dean of International Faculty, TAG VHS Diabetic Research Center, with the traditional Punnadai. Thank you, Madam. We now request Professor B.M. Hegde to deliver his talk on energy and the human body in health and disease.
My very dear friend, Professor Hans-Peter Dior, Your Excellency, Dr. Stephen Webeck, the Consul General of the Federal Republic of Germany, my elder brother, Dr. Krishnaswamy, and my dear student. And very, in Indian custom, when a student excels the teacher, the teacher gets all the happiness in the world. And that's what has happened to me when he became the secretary of VHS. Distinguished friends, I would say my extended Chennai family members, I see fountainheads of intellect, the leaders of the industry, captains of the industry, if I may say so, from the media, and Dr. Karthik, Dr. Karthikeyan has come all the way from Delhi just for this meeting. When I told him you must come, he just appeared this morning and is going back tomorrow morning. And we have all these people here, and we are grateful to you for coming here to support us. Now, friends, I have just 15 minutes. I'm not going into the details of energy medicine, but I'll tell you the principles of it. It was 45 years ago that I wrote a paper called Unconventional Wisdom in Medicine, which took 10 years for the Western journals to publish it. And ultimately, it was published about 30 years ago. And when this paper came out, I almost lost my job. And my college met under the chairmanship of the then dean and said, this fellow is a nut. And the earlier we send him out of the college, the better it is for our health. But anyway, I survived with the skin of my teeth. Then, of course, there was a big complaint against me to the Indian Medical Council. Of course, Rajshekhar was not the Indian Medical Council, saying that he is a quack, his degrees must be all removed. Anyway, I survived that also. But modern medicine, I have been in modern medicine for more than half a century. And I have seen it all over the globe. I have taught in all countries except the South American continent. And I have examined in England. But what I have found out was, the audit shows, I shouldn't be saying this openly, that we are more of a menace to society than a help. And this is a very sad state of affairs. So I said, can we change this? That was the time I went into physics, 40 years ago. And I found the answer was in physics because science has completely changed. Science changed in 1925, when a young man of 24 changed completely the principles of science. And he incidentally happens to be the guru of Hans-Peter Dior, Werner Heisenberg. The human body is a part of this entire universe. We are just a small little bit, a small speck of this enormous universe. And if you know that, there is no place for ego, pride, anger, jealousy, and what have you, the negative feelings that kill you. Now we know, and Hans has shown, that energy is matter and matter is energy. I still remember the word he was talking. We were both lecturing in Washington. He was preceding me. He was talking on matter and I was talking on the wrong science of medicine. And he said, I quote, I'm a nuclear scientist. In his inimitable style, he said, I'm a nuclear scientist. What's my job? Look at matter at its subtlest level, which I've been doing for 55 years. And now I have realized there is no matter at all. losing weight and what have you. And he had a lecture commitment somewhere in a faraway place. And his wife and everybody said, you can't go. You got such a fever. He said, don't worry. When I go and talk to them and see them laugh and enjoy, my fever will go. And lo and behold, he went there and he talked and they all laughed and clapped and stood up. His fever went away permanently after that. Can I say the other truth also? I'll tell you something more. This man was diagnosed as having a cancer, a bad cancer, bad cancer. All the bones had cancer. So he said, if my body can cure it, it will cure it. If it can't cure it, if there's the end, yes, that's it. And he is here 25 years after that, hale and healthy, without having had a single pill. What does that say? Body is mind, mind is body. And if you know that, then we know everything else. You cannot change the body in a very reductionist fashion by thinking of the human body as a motor car with the different parts to be replaced when gone. The other day, I was in a fund giving in a bank, it's a big, large bank, which is giving a lot of money for various humanitarian things. There was a demand for 1 crore rupees from this city. This bank is not situated here, it's somewhere else. In the city, for what? Buying a bus to collect organs from various places when people die and store it somewhere. And it's 1 crore because it's a lab, it's everything, it's a bus, etc., etc. The first thing that shocked me is people still have not realized what human body is. Just can't just get apart. And it was said, it's all done for charity. Now, you can't transplant an organ for a poor man because after transplant, he requires every day about 10 to 15,000 rupees worth of expense. So you're doing it only for a rich man. So where is the question of charity there? It's probably one of the big businesses. Now, this is how the world runs. I have a small joke to make it lighter for you. A lady had bought a new car, new motor car. And it's running so well, very expensive car. But each time she starts it, there is a red light coming on the dashboard, which ought to go when the car starts running. But the red light was not going. So she went back to the manufacturer and said, this is no good. They gave her another car. And they immediately said, it's repaired. And they gave her original car. Again, the same thing. And she got fed up going to several garages. One day, it was a Friday evening. It was 5 o'clock. And she was so fed up with the car. And the red light was not going and she was running. And there was a roadside garage. So she went there and talked all kinds of things about others who repaired it and said, can you repair that? And it's Friday evening. You can imagine, in the Western countries, Friday evening, nobody works. Friday afternoon, nobody works. But there was a brilliant man, a garage man, who said, madam, I can repair your car. Take a chair. And he gave her a cup of tea, took the car to the backside, and then lit up a cigarette and smoked the cigarette, spent some time, and then went under the dashboard, removed that red bulb, and came back and gave her the car. Lo and behold, the car was fine. She started the car. She was so grateful. And she praised him. And she said, he's the best man in the world. That is exactly what we do in medical claptrap. The fire is there, smoldering. We put a lid on that, which in Latin we call as palliation. And we say, you're fine. We're fine. But the fire is still there. And the fire is eating into the body itself. This is not medicine. This all started with that young boy called René Descartes in the 17th century who said, cogito ergo sum. I know, I think I am. And he said, res cogitans, the thinking part, which is called the mind, and res extensa, the other part, extensive part, the body. And he cut it off. And that's where we started. All our science started from there. And you say modern medicine is scientific? You know the science base of modern medicine? It was in the 12th century that the European universities started, which converted the churches into universities. And the 12th century, they accepted medicine, especially physicians who were practicing medicine, as science. Surgeons took another 100, nearly 200 years. They were called barbers at that time. And with the 18th century, starting of the Royal College of Surgeons in England, surgeons became doctors. Up until then, they were only barbers. Now that was the scientific base in Europe. Now look at America. Year was 1899, and there were so many medical colleges in America, nearly 147. They were teaching all kinds of things. Modern medicine, so-called, integrated medicine, Chinese